All right. Shall we get started? See,
Yeah,
people come and join. So, doing
sure.
another episode of the Soto and Chad show here. And we had a week off. I was on vacation with the wife. We went to Foxwoods. So, we had a good time. I mean, I got sick. I'm not going to talk about that, but, the first night was not good. But overall, we had such a fun time. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
we had a week off. So it's good to be back kind of doing our normal scheduled bullshit. And we have a few things we're going to talk about today, so but before we do,
Yeah.
what's new going on with you this last week? What are you playing? What's going on?
Uh, well, I'll stick to the good things, which is what I'm playing right now. And it gets like we talked about. I'm playing Fallout 4, just like every other fucking regular normal human being that's watched the new Fallout show on Amazon. Um, we may talk about it earlier, but I think that it's just such a great fucking callback to a game. And so yeah, I've decided to go back into a game I've already platinumed. And ignore my 200 plus fucking backlog, um, just so I can build houses and shit like that. So I still got Disco Elysium I gotta beat. I started fucking 13 Sentinel one, which is this weird like visual Japanese novel fucking game that is like guys time travel. I don't know when the fuck I'm gonna play that. Baldur's Gate remains stalled at like 100 hours in Act 3. Yeah, and now I'm playing Helldivers 2 like multiplayer, so I don't fucking know. And I work way too much to have these habits. I really do.
Yeah, the backlog definitely is a thing. I know
Oh,
before
dude,
I
it's
went on
ridiculous.
vacation, we talked about this. I beat Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I'm glad to have that because that was two back-to-back Final Fantasy games for me. So it's nice to have the break. I'm currently doing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands because I just want to shoot some shit and not think. Hence, that pairs well with Helldivers.
It
So yeah,
does.
I mean, like I think I need to go mindless for a little bit and just shoot a lot of things until I get into my next big game, which I don't know what it'll be, but you brought up
I have
Fallout,
no
so
idea.
I don't want us
Yeah.
to get into the series as a whole because I know it's still new or a lot of people haven't watched it yet. But
Oh,
quick
yes,
question:
yes, yes.
now, I've never played the Fallout games. I have not really. I tried to get into one of them. I think you lent me at one time. I want to say New Vegas, but I could be wrong. Which one you let me? And I just couldn't get into it at the time. I might
Yeah.
actually now go back to it, but obviously I do want to watch the show. But as someone
Hmm.
who's never played the games,
Yeah.
how do you think I would enjoy the show?
I think the show would get you interested in playing the game, just like kind of most people are right now. I think it has a ton of people playing concurrently on Steam and everything like that. So, because the show is done so well, and it has like it alludes to certain kind of lore, and so it just kind of makes you want to find out more about it. Even it has even little stupid like it has Easter eggs all over the place. So I just think that as a show and as a general story, you'll find it really intriguing. Obviously, it takes place in an alternate version of America that has like seen a nuclear war, but like that nuclear war kind of stopped it at the like kind of the 50s kind of vibe. So it's got this like kind of 50s nostalgic music thing to it, but it also got like post-apocalyptic dirtiness and everything and kind of futuristic weapons, but done in a sort of sci-fi 50s futuristic way.
Hmm.
But it's also really funny and comically violent, which is what the game is like comically violent. I remember one of my favorite memories all time of playing Fallout. I was playing Fallout 3 and you come across a town called Megaton that has a nuclear bomb in it that just hasn't gone off. And so you can't set it off. Like you obviously have a choice of whether or not you can nuke the place. But I remember doing all sorts of side quests and shit like that just to build up my character so I could eventually blow up this fucking town with this atomic bomb. And I got to see it like from like a high tower far away and like press the button was just so satisfying watching this nuclear bomb go off. And um then I fast traveled to the place to see what it looked like after the bomb had gone off, and one of the vendors was like turned into a ghoul, which you'll find out what that is. And she's just coughing, and she's like, "Don't mind the mess." And I pissed my fucking pants, dude, laughing. It was like it's the most evil thing you can do in Fallout 3. Fallout 3 has a morality system. So does New Vegas. Fallout 4 does not. Fallout 4 has more of Depending on your companions, like your companions have like affinity levels with you. So if you make certain dialogue choices, certain companions may dislike that or they'll like it. And if you get your companion to max, then you'll get like a special perk that you get from being friends with them. But overall, the show is just really easy to get into. It's not a lot of heavy lifting. It's 45-minute episodes. There's only 8 of them. And it's got a pretty streamlined story. And so I think it'd be very easy for you to get into. And I'll be interested to see if you want to play the games afterwards, because you don't really play RPGs like that. So,
No,
as we've
I don't.
discussed.
But you never know. I think it's just something I need to get into, time wise and figure it
And it's
out. So
open world
far,
too. You hate open world.
I do and I don't. And yeah, I mean that's a topic for a later time. Because I play role playing games, so some open worlds I love, and then there's just some I don't, and I don't know why. And I know this is something we're gonna get into at a later time, but
But you can
uh,
you can make like your own character, and like for me, I have like a head canon. So like if I make a character, I'm like, this is what my character's story is going to be. This is how they're going to react to things. This is why they're going to react to things this way. And then it's like you play a role like in the game that you have created, in the framework of the game. And Fallout is that kind of game. It doesn't hold your hand because like we call like I mean like Final Fantasy like is a role playing game technically, but you're not really like put yourself in Cloud's shoes. Like Cloud is
no,
Cloud.
Cloud is Cloud. You're following the story. You're
Tifa is
playing.
Tifa. It's a single story, like single player, like story focused game with RPG elements, like equipping shit and having
Yep.
shit be like, the fights being a certain kind of way, like RPG style, like, either it's timed or it's this or that. Um, Fallout is you make a character, you spec them out, you answer the dialogue like you want to answer it, and you kind of just can make up your own story and kind of do your own quote unquote build and then literally just do what you want. Some of my favorite times in playing Fallout have been when I've just done whatever I've wanted, and the results have been like unexpected, and oftentimes really fucking funny. To the point where me and Sarah even talk about moments from Fallout New Vegas that we still remember. I haven't played Fallout New Vegas since like 2000, probably 13. But I did shit in that game that was so fucking funny that like we still talk about it now, and it's like accidentally funny, not like oh my god, like I planned this shit out. I was like, no, I have an idea, I want to do this, and then I did it, and then the consequences were absolutely fucking like unpredictable and hilarious. So that's what I have found in Fallout to be my favorite part about it. Which is why now I'm choosing to just build settlements because I'm like, no, I've done everything. I just want to just build stuff and then just turn this into like The Sims. So, which Fallout 4 you could definitely have. You could don't have to even follow the story. You could just gather materials, explore the wasteland, and go wherever you want. Literally go wherever you want, do whatever you want. It's pretty great. Kill whoever you want. You can literally shoot anybody that you see, and just be a scourge. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you think about the show. I don't think you're gonna. I think you're gonna go through it pretty quickly. So,
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. I mean, it does look amazing. So, but
dude, it's so good. I mean, and the characters, the choices they made with the actors, I mean, it's all like, it's got a great vibe. You'll see.
so on our channel right now,
Hmm.
videos this week and next week are little cuts from our very first podcast. And if you remember correctly, we were talking about just some of the influential movies in our lives. Just things that shaped us to who we are, why we like certain movies. First one, came out Monday was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yesterday we had The
Hmm.
Dark Crystal. And
Yep.
there's more coming out. Star Wars coming out tomorrow, just in time for Star Wars Day. But Soto, one of my movies, Goodwill Hunting, it was great. We had a lot of talk, especially about, sleep pattern and Project Greenlight and all that other stuff. But there was a question that I think you posed during it, which I didn't have an answer for because it's been a while, and it keeps coming up. So I want you to start. I just ask the question that again, and let's get this done. Let's clear this shit out of the air. What is your
Okay.
problem with Goodwill Hunting?
Okay. First of all, I love Good Will Hunting. All
I
right.
shouldn't say
I
problem,
will.
but one
I
scene,
will
you
never
know it.
besmirch the name of Good Will Hunting because I literally almost watched it the other night just for shits and giggles. But at the end of the movie, Ben Affleck's character goes back to apparently pick him up at his apartment. Okay, at the end, right? It's
Hmm.
got you got
Yep, yep.
Elliott Smith playing. Everything's like kind of, he tells Sean he's about to go see about a girl, all that stuff, right? And he drives away, and then his buddies come and go pick him up. So my question to you is, they just gave him a car the day before. At least I'm assuming it's the day before. Why the fuck would they be surprised if he's not home? Or when they see that the car is not there and think that he's not home anyways, why would they? I understand why they had to tie it together. We'll get into this. But that is my main question: is why were they looking? Why did that whole scene happen? And so you say you haven't answered this,
Well,
so please.
your initial thing was like, why was Ben Affleck's character Chucky surprised?
Yes,
And I
yes,
rewatched that scene, and he wasn't totally surprised. So the one thing I can't answer, and it is Boston. No, 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 is I don't know where Matt Damon would have parked his car because that's the only thing. But if you know Boston parking, you're probably down the street somewhere. So first of all,
sure,
before I get into this, but because you also asked the question, are they picking him up for work? Is it night? You didn't even know what time of
yes.
day it was.
No, it
So,
was
well,
unclear. Yes.
it isn't. It is very clear. It's just, they didn't have to bring it up. I want to go back into the movie, though. All right.
Okay.
So, what sets this up for people who don't know Good Will Hunting, there's a scene, the two of them are working together. Which, funny story, rewatching this scene, because Ben Affleck asked Matt Damon, when are you done with these things? And Matt Damon says, after my 21st birthday. I'm like, wait, he's not even 21 and he goes out drinking? So, there's a plot hole right there that I don't even want to go down, but I laughed. But this is
Don't
what
check
set
IDs.
they don't care. It's Boston.
It was the late 90s. It's fine.
But what leads to this end is this, and I know you know this scene in this dialogue, but I'm going to read it for the people. So,
Sure, yeah.
basically, Chucky, Ben Affleck tells Matt Damon,
Chucky.
you need to go out to better things. And Matt Damon's like, no, fuck that. Our boys are going to play ball together and all that. And he's like, if you're still
Yeah.
here in 20 years, they're having an argument. And I'm going to go to Ben Affleck's last kind of paragraph. He's like, let me tell you what I do know. Every day I come by to pick you up and we go out and we have a few drinks and a few laughs and it's great. But you know what the best part of my day is? It's for about the 10 seconds for when I pull up to the curb to when I get to your door because I think maybe I'll get up there and I'll knock on the door and you won't be there. No goodbye, no see you
Wow.
later, no nothing, just left. I don't know much, but I know that. So there's two things
Oh,
out of that.
okay,
One,
okay.
it's what Ben Affleck wanted, and Matt Damon, because they're best friends. He's like, he gave him that. I mean, it would have been cool, like a handshake goodbye, but he asked for that. Two, the main thing is we go out and have a few drinks. So they go out
Yes.
drinking. So when Ben Affleck picks him up, because again, it's Boston, it's easier to take one car. And even when I was in my 20s and stuff like that, if I was going out with a few friends, we try for the most part maybe to get in one car. Parking's easier. So it is a daily thing for them to go out. So to me, it's in the evening. They're not going to work. So they're picking him up. They're going to
Yeah.
go have a night out. And yes,
Hmm.
he's gone. Now, again, I don't know where Matt Damon would park the car. So I cannot explain why he looked, hey, the car's not here. Maybe he's not here. But again, it's so embedded in his mind because he's been picking Matt Damon up time and time again. This has been their daily, weekly, whatever
To go out for
routine
drinks, not to
to
go
go.
out to work.
This
Yes.
is drinks, and if you, and
Yeah.
even before I looked this up, when I watched the end scene, it's evening. It's a little bit dark out now. I know maybe it's going the other direction, but these guys are dressed to have fun or just to go out. They're not
Yes.
dressed for
You're
work.
right.
So watching the scene has always been about to me. It's the evening. These boys are just going out having a good time, and yes, he does. What happens is he knocks and he peeks in, and that's when he notices, and he's just like, I think he's more surprised. Oh my fucking god, he did it! He finally did what and he smiles. He smiles at himself. He's like, good for him. He's happy because he knows his friend is gonna have a better life because he has this gift, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's been afraid to use it and be go out in the world.
Hmm.
So to me, yes, they're going out drinking. It's something they've been, whether it's a Friday, Thursday night, nightly thing, I don't know, but this is their routine because they were all together. And I don't think it really shocked him. I just think maybe at first he just like, oh, he's not here, but then he smiled. So he knew Matt Damon was gone. He knew finally because he gave him that speech. They gave him that car, that he had the balls to finally go follow his girl back out to California and just see what he can do. which brings me up now to a plot hole which I read, which I had no fucking clue about, and I got to bring this up. So that's the reason. I don't think he was surprised. He knew he was happy.
I mean, you brought receipts, man. I can't argue against
I
the
had
receipts
so
that you brought receipts from the store directly, and I'm like, all right, I
I
guess I
did
have
I
to
did. I
honor
like
this
this.
return.
Someone brought up a point when I found because I just wanted to find the Ben Affleck quote just so I could have it ready because I couldn't remember.
Sure.
I wasn't going to write it down. But
Hmm.
someone brought up the point. They were like, "What is Matt Damon expected to do?" First of all, he's driving from Boston to California, which if you do it straight, it's
It's
48
52
hours.
hours.
Yeah,
Is it 40?
40,
It's
40
like
I
it
only
took me
know because
52.
well, I say 48 because if you don't know this about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in real life, they drove. They literally Ben Affleck would drive Matt Damon. They didn't take turns. Ben Affleck was the only one that drove back from Boston to LA and vice versa. And what they would do it straight. And the whole thing was Matt
Damn,
Damon would come
dude.
up with stories and they would talk about stories. This is how Good Will Hunting kind of got started. So they would keep him awake by talking and doing these stories. Yes, obviously they had to stop for gas and food. But if they said 48 hours, you're right. It could be, it's roughly fucking, it's a long time.
I've done it. It sucks, and
I,
I did it like in shifts of 4 hours of sleep as I could. I mean, it's 52 for me. It took me 52 hours from Cali to here down the line. I think I did that when I want to say 18 years old. That was the last time I did that shit,
wow.
and it was in a Grand Marquis. That's when we did it. Yeah, so it wasn't exactly whatever, but I mean, I saw the sun come up and then set behind me, and then I saw the sun like come up again, like in front of me. Like so, I saw like the rotation of like the sun going
Damn.
across like the United States, dude. It's a fucking. I don't know how they did it, staying up 48 hours in a row because that's actually really bad. Like that's like a DUI. Because like you can't like fucking be awake that long and drive a motor vehicle, man. Like I know that they obviously had no choice and it's romanticized now, but like, dude, you stay up for 20 plus hours, your cognitive like ability is gonna degrade.
Now,
100%.
yeah, again, maybe they had like a 2, 3 hour nap. I don't know. I for some reason always stuck that they were the ones that said 48 hours. But the thing I came away from is Ben Affleck did all the driving. Hence why Chucky did
Yes.
all the driving in the movie. And Matt Damon could drive. I don't know why it was just the dynamic and why it happened. But back to the point about the little plot hole is Matt Damon doesn't have that much money. He was working a job and side jobs, and he's got to go cross country with
Yeah, he's gotta
barely
pay
any money
gas.
for a girl he broke up with kind of twice.
Yeah.
Who knows? What if she says no? Is he going to drive back? No, there's no
But
plan. I mean, I
but
know
it's
it's the
a
romance. I know it's a romanticizing. It's just a funny thought. Like,
it's just about taking the chance. That's why it ends when it ends. It's like it doesn't matter what happens. It's like the fact that he
correct.
made that decision is the most important thing. But you're right. It's like, of course, like all those things could go wrong, but it's for the power of love, man. To quote fucking Huey Lewis in the news, it's power of
Oh,
love. And it's like, and
that's
he's
just the.
moving forward. He's taking a step forward. But I will say, kudos to you because I've seen this movie a gajillion times, and that line of dialogue in that scene like missed me because obviously a lot goes on in this movie.
Yeah,
But
great movie.
when you put it in the context of that line, it's like, oh, okay. Because that was always the confusion, being like, is it the morning? Is it the day? But of course, Matt Damon finds his own way to work because he talks about his commute all the time, how he has to go on the T and shit like that, and he's like a janitor, like in fucking what is it, Cambridge. So like,
Yeah,
there's never an established dialogue that like it's Chucky that drives him to work. It's only that Chucky takes him to the bars.
correct.
That's how they end up going to the Harvard bars
The
and
bars.
fuck up
How
some
do you like
smart
them
kids.
apples?
Yeah, so like they just go to bars like at night, and then Chucky just drives fucking drunk around South Boston, I guess.
You
Uh,
always got that one guy that's got to drive drunk. I don't know.
yeah,
Don't drive
exactly.
drunk,
Yeah.
people. Don't get a sober driver. I know people are
Yes.
so. I know people are stupid. We were stupid,
Yes.
but we won't get into that. But yes,
Yes.
to bring the story hold to me, I when you asked that question, I always remember that speech by Ben Affleck. I didn't know it word for word. I just remember him telling him, "I want you to have a better life." And then when I read it, I'm like, "Look at that! There it is. We're going to the bars." I'm like, "That's the key." So it's definitely evening, which I
Yeah.
kind of got from the scene, and I always thought it was evening because because again, it looked a little darker out.
It's
Again,
dusk. You know, it's
correct.
dusk. It's just
It
like
could be
seven.
the
You know.
yeah, which could also be early morning, but I always assumed it was evening. That was my opinion. But I'm
Yeah.
glad we could solve this Goodwill Hunting problem for you, Soto. I am very, very, very glad. So,
I am. I can now watch Good Will Hunting and feel a lot more confident in what's happening in front of me. And
but
so I thank you for that.
you're welcome. So before we go, keep going. Madness joined our chat, and we were talking about
Madness.
staying awake, and he says after an hour of being awake, I'm already ready for bed.
Sounds like my
He's just
wife.
awake for an hour. He's like, it's nap time. It's nap time.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. I feel you. But sometimes when I go back to bed, Madness, I end up having like the craziest fucking dreams. Like if I'm just like oversleeping and trying to force myself to sleep extra, because I'll get up like naturally, like I don't know, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, just kind of like as my cycle goes, and I could get up and do stuff, but I'm like, no, I can sleep a little bit more. And when I sleep for an extra hour, I fucking have crazy weird dreams and I end up being more tired.
Yep. You got those like lucid dreams, and just shit doesn't make
Oh
sense. And
no, dude,
which
it's
you know
fucked
what?
up.
A lot of times, yeah, they're fucked up, but I love them. I fucking love them, and because
Uh,
I don't know. Well, they are weird, but at the same time, I think when you have those lucid dreams, I'm like, I feel like I got the best sleep, even if it's just, I don't know. I like this
yeah.
dumbass, crazy ass dreams. I do.
Hmm.
They're the weirdest things, but because
Yeah.
I try to make sense of it, and I can't. I just can't.
I always have dreams about being like at work and shit like that, or it's like,
Uh,
oh, some crazy shit is going on that I'm like, oh my God, I wake up like in a panic. So, as we've talked about before, it's like I can't play video games past a certain time because if I do, now I've developed some sort of situation where, like, if I play video games until late night, like, it just activates my brain, and then when I go to sleep, I will literally have like night terrors. Like in the first like 20 minutes of like sleeping, like something hallucinate something awful happening to me or some shit like that. Like, yeah, I love that. I love that for me.
And I don't know why I remember this one dream, and it's one because I remember a lot of random dreams, but this is the one that I had to laugh at. So you remember, before my last job, even though I was doing two jobs, I was working at CVS when they started the post office, and you know how much I love retail, which we're about to get into in a little bit. But anyhow, so this is after I left CVS, and I'm now 100% behind the post office. But I had this dream, and there's a lot I don't remember. What I do remember is there was a CVS out in the middle of the fucking woods. Like I'm talking about like trees galore. And I do remember there was some of the staff that actually worked with me in the last CVS and we're waiting for the truck. And I'm like, and it all makes sense to me into it. Like, oh God, the truck's late. When is it going to get here? And then and then I wake up, I'm like, why the fuck was there a truck in the middle of the forest? And when you really start thinking about it, everything just sounds absurd. But man, I don't know. When you're in the deep sleep and you wake up, I don't know. I always feel good coming out of it. So,
I mean,
but
I do sometimes. It depends, you know. Like, it's just good sleep is so hard to find these days because it's like there's always like there's too little or there's too much, at least for me.
yeah,
So I'm trying to find the happy medium, but nothing beats the luxury of a midday nap. I will tell you, Madness. If you have the opportunity to take a midday nap and you don't have anything to do and it's quiet and nobody's asking for your attention, it's like fucking gold.
so Matt just said he remembers one time he was a character in a video game that he was playing, and when he woke
Yeah,
up, it helped him get past the part that he was stuck on. So subconsciously,
I've
he
done
knew
that.
what he needed to do. He just couldn't do it, but
I
the
had
dream helped him.
I think I had the same thing with Emerald Weapon or something like that. Because I was at one point, we've talked about the Emerald Weapon in Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII in the old school PS game. I fought that boss over and over again for 24 hours straight, and I couldn't beat him. And the underwater timer, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I had dreams. I woke up, and I was like, as soon as I woke up, probably within the first or second try, I had beaten the Emerald Weapon.
You just knew. You just knew.
My
Or
body
you had
just
the
had
comp.
to, my brain had to work it out. Like, it's like it does. You have a problem in your brain and you sleep it off, and the next day, usually, for me, this happens in video games all the time. I will come across a video game that's too hard. I will deal with a part that I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll stress about it. I'll go to bed. I'll wake up the next day, and usually, when I turn on the game, within the first like few minutes, I will have already like I will have gotten over it.
Hmm. I might have to
Clockwork.
try.
Hmm.
But going back and changing subjects, kind of our main
Hmm.
topic that we want to talk about today. Um, you know, we met at a Blockbuster Video. We both
Oh,
worked at a
Jesus.
Blockbuster Video. Some
Yeah.
good times. I mean, I know we say that, but I mean, it is retail. It's a retail life, and it sucks. And a lot of things. Yeah, obviously, you're still in retail. I got out of it, but here's a
Yeah.
this is a whole bag of worms, and we're going to ask a
Yeah.
lot for the chat's opinions. If for those who work retails, madness, because there's a question we might have for like other countries. But Soto, I mean, I guess this is going to be such an open-ended question to start this. Why does retail work suck so much, in your opinion? Why? Why does retail? Why does everyone hate work in retail? Why?
Yeah, when you work retail, man, it's especially in our country, I don't know what the fuck it is, and this is not every customer, but for some fucking reason, like there are customers who are so goddamn entitled and who will just use that entitlement like to just absolutely abuse you for no fucking reason. And it's because in the United States we have a fucking concept that the customer is always right. It's not even actually the fucking quote. Like the quote is like the customer is always right in all matters of taste, which means that, if a customer is buying stuff, then they're right. Whatever the customer is buying is what you should be selling, right? Not that the customer just has the total right to be a fucking asshole whenever they want for the slightest fucking inconvenience of you just being alive in that situation. So American customers will take out their slightest inconvenience on a person working behind the counter, and they will use that person behind the counter as the symbol of the entire fucking company and just absolutely shit on that person for literally the dumbest shit. And this is a story from Blockbuster, and you know this as well. And I tell this to some of my supervisors and my managers now. It's like customers would come into Blockbuster Video and they would ask to get a fucking credit because when they rented the movie, okay, and when they brought it back home, the movie wasn't rewound all the way. And so they had to take 2 extra fucking seconds to rewind the movie to the beginning and then watch it again. Then they would come into the store and demand that you refund them for the time that they lost having to rewind the movie or give them a credit. All right.
Yeah.
Then I would subsequently look at whoever was the CSR that checked in the movie, see if they didn't put it in our VHS rewinders that we kept by the drop slot. And if they did not rewind it, I would have to talk to them and be like, hey, listen, you got to get your shit together. Like, what the fuck's going on? Because that's how little of an inconvenience it takes for the American customer to walk back into the establishment that they purchased something from or rented something from and ask for a fucking refund or a credit or anything like that. That's the kind of shit that drives me fucking crazy. Or like just people walk into retail and just think that they are now the kings, that they are not in their real life. So they walk into a store, now they are a customer, okay? Now they are the king, customer's king. And because our stupid fucking businesses put this on customers too, right? Like it's our
Mm.
whole like just systemic like culture thing. It allows assholes who are nobody outside of that store to walk in and all of a sudden assert dominance. They may have problems at home, they may have problems with their significant others, they may suck at their jobs, but when you walk into a store and if something's not the right way that you wanted, man, you can look at that person across the counter, you can absolutely fucking tell them what to do because you're the fucking boss. You're the fucking king. And I absolutely cannot stand this fucking mentality and madness. I was talking about this with Chad earlier, like offline, but I am so curious to know if this is specifically an American culture thing because it feels to me like it might be. So I'll get off
Basically,
my
what you're saying is
soapbox and let you.
Americans are just assholes to each other, which we know is true. We just know there's a
I
bunch
mean,
of
I just want to
assholes.
make sure that it's not like, because if it's a human thing, then
We're
okay,
fucked.
like I can be like whatever, like it is what it is. People like are just assholes everywhere, and I know that there are assholes everywhere. Okay, I'm not saying that, but the entitlement of
Yes.
American consumerism is absolutely disgusting. You see it in restaurants. We have a tipping culture, which is not even like anything that I think is really around the world. That's like here, and now it's like you tip for everything. Like no matter where you are, if you go to a concert and you're paying for a concert T-shirt from the person behind the counter, and you're like, I'd like that T-shirt in a large, please, and they go, here's your T-shirt, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm paying with my credit card, and they're like, okay, cool, here's your little thingy, just put your credit card in here, and it's like, oh, would you like to leave at least a 10% tip for who? Why don't you pay your fucking people?
Yep.
Pay your Why are you asking me to pay your employees? You pay your fucking people. So again, it's a very hot topic for me. I understand that it's very charged, especially given my current situation. But just what I will give the floor up to anybody else who wants to say anything.
Well, there is a, and I'm going to include, not just retail, but, I think like fast food, and most jobs is, like I said, when a customer goes into a building, you're representing, that worker, that company, that
Yes.
16-year-old kid who is a cashier, say at a McDonald's, Burger King, a fast food joint, their first job. They're just trying to learn, make a few bucks so they can have gas just to hang out with their friends afterwards. And if something's just not right, it gets taken out on them for no
Yes.
reason. Like McDonald's, they could just be like blah blah blah, and they're just yelling. And the kid's just like, "Listen, I just gave you the hamburgers. That's it." Um, but yeah, I can't stand it, and I'm trying to remember a couple stories. I mean, I my first job. I was pushing carts at a grocery store. That was my first one. Now, this isn't exactly retail, but grocery store is still a very, customer base. This I got my routine down. This day it was fucking pouring. Like the rain, like, and I'm out there like, all right, this is my job. Yeah, it sucks. And that, and I'm getting soaked, but no matter what, I am going through this. I'm going to finish.
Hmm.
And obviously this was like on a Saturday. So this is busy. People are coming in and out quick, and if you know some grocery stores, you run out of carts. As I'm
Yeah.
pushing it in, there's people waiting. So it's getting towards the end, but I'm kind of bringing in the next stack, and this one woman looks at me and just, obviously I'm drenched and says, "Excuse me, where's the dry carts?" And I looked at her and I was so pissed. Now, you know me. This is when I think this is the
The
first
try
time I've
cards.
snapped at a customer, because I've usually just been, keeping it. And I said, the people that came in earlier today got the dry carts because in the afternoon it wasn't raining. I always remember that line. And I just walked out. I'm like, oh my god, I knew I shouldn't have said that, but I was so pissed because people are like, oh, some of them would just say it to themselves, whatever, oh, like I gotta touch a wet cart. Okay, there's towels and stuff. But she looked at me, and I'm so pushing in carts from the fucking outside, and I'm just like, what do you want me to do? I was so mad. I'm like, really? This is how I'm just here pushing carts, and this is how you want to treat me? But
I mean,
I kind of want to share a story about yelling, and this is actually before I get into the story. Actually, um, first of all, my wife messaged me, says, "You sound pissed." Yes, Soto has a lot of problems with retail. He is pissed. We are both pissed. Retail life sucks. But Mandis has said a few things here, Soto, so I'm going to read them out to you if you didn't
excellent.
catch them. So he said the only time it gets rough for him is Christmas when everyone's fighting over the smallest inconveniences, which is kind of true for here. I mean, people want like the newest things. I mean, Black Friday's kind of changed, but when you want you think you should get the last toy. But here's the next
Hmm.
line. Usually they're very polite and generally thankful. So I think this is just an American thing. I think we are just entitled.
I think so too. It's
It's sad, but true.
it's like the American dream and everything is like, oh, freedom, freedom, man. Like a little bit of chicken fried, like cold beer on a Friday night. Like, oh my God, I'm so fucking free. Which, by the way, you're not. So then you come in and you're just like, I'm fucking free, man. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like when I catch people smoking cigarettes in my parking lot, they're not supposed to. There's signs that say don't smoke cigarettes, don't smoke cigarettes. don't smoke cigarettes. Okay, it's like don't do it. And then I come out to the parking lot and I'm like, hey, you got to put that fucking out. And you know what these assholes tell me?
It's a free
You can't
country.
tell me what to do.
Oh, that too.
I'm not breaking the law. You can't fucking tell me. I'm in my car. I'm in my fucking car right now. This is my personal property. You can't tell me to put a fucking cigarette out. I'm in my fucking car. Dude,
I know I should be laughing. It's
you're
just
on
the car.
fucking private property, man. I can tell you whatever the fuck I want. Get the fuck off this private property or I'm going to call the police. But people literally are walking around this country and are like, I am free no matter the fucking cost to anyone around me. I am free because that is my fucking right as an American. I don't care what your feelings are. Ooh, snowflakes. I don't care what your thing is. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. If I want to drink this nip while I'm driving and throw this fireball out the fucking window and litter all over the fucking place, I fucking will. If I want to take a shit in your parking lot because you don't have a fucking bathroom that we can use, I'm going to take a shit in this parking lot and you're going to clean it because I'm the fucking customer.
Oh,
You know what I
my
mean?
God.
It's like
Oh, no, I agree.
absolutely insane, dude. It's fucking insane. Blockbuster, people will come in and be like, I didn't like this movie. Can I get a credit? What the fuck? You rented it. That means you tried it. You were just trying it. Like, you can't get a fucking credit because you didn't fucking like it. It's not guaranteed, dude.
It's not our fault.
Or
But it
they'd be
is.
like, oh,
Because we
I
represented
kept
Blockbuster.
I kept this fucking movie for like fucking 3 months. Why are you charging me $1.25? I thought there was no late fees. I charged you $1.25 for you to basically own a movie for 90 days. And then you come back and it's like, I've literally insulted your fucking like existence. And I'm sorry, but if you haven't worked
don't be sorry.
retail, like this is what retail is. This is facts. Okay? Because I work in an establishment that you would think that would be immune from like the regular retail thing, right? But it's still fucking retail.
Yeah.
It's still fucking retail. People are like, no, I didn't like this. I'd like whatever. It's like, what the fuck? That's the crazy shit that I can't fucking get, man. It's
Well,
like,
no,
oh my God. It's like, what the hell is this? Well, I didn't like this one. Oh, blah, blah. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't like this. I'm like, okay. But again, it's just that entitlement that just fucking gets me every fucking day.
Well, so you brought up a point. Yes, renting movies is kind of like trying them out. It would be like you going to a restaurant, ordering a fancy steak, and just be like, "Yeah, I don't like it. I want a new one." What
And
the
they
fuck do you
do.
think?
And they fucking do. And they do it after fucking church on Sundays. So these people go to church on fucking Sunday mornings, okay? And they're like, oh, cool, praise the fucking Lord. And then they go to restaurants right afterwards and they fucking abuse the waitstaff. And if you don't fucking believe me, ask somebody who works on Sundays and brunch or lunch and deals with church crowds.
In America.
In America. They come out and they were like, nope, send this back. Nope, send this back. Don't want it. Looking for an excuse to fucking complain and looking for an excuse to be the king of their little fucking petty world. That's what the American consumer is to me in that situation. Like, again, I love regulars. I have some great customers. We had some great regulars and great customers. Even at Blockbuster, we had some great regulars and customers.
Oh, yeah.
But the majority of people, like, and just random people that you fucking meet in this fucking simulation are absolutely fucking ridiculous with what they expect. They do not give a fuck about anybody else except what the fuck they are doing. That is it. 100%. They will cough on you. They will sneeze on you. They will fucking berate you. They will fucking do everything they can to make you feel less than, just so they can feel like they're fucking important. And the American retail experience allows them to do that.
So before we keep going on with this, Carlos, thank you. No, I got to point this out, Soto. Carlos, thank you for joining the chat. I got to read to you what Carlos said, and he's like, I just turned in and I hear I want to take a shit in a parking lot. That's a great place to just join us, Carlos. But yes, that is the American way. We're trying to figure out people who are from different countries if this is kind of across the globe or this is and I think it's just an American because as Soto said, A lot of Americans just feel entitled. Um, why
Hmm.
Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays? Religious reasons, so or madness. That's why.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
yeah, and same with like I know there's a Hobby Lobby around here. There's this whole
Yes.
parking lot where it's just all closed. But yeah, they get Sundays off. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I think too many people feel that they have the right to treat people like shit, and just because
Yes,
that they
all
work
the
there,
time.
whether or not the, they have any control over it. And that's the worst part. There's some people who just don't have control over the situation, and it's like I don't make the rules. I mean, I remember a Black Friday at Blockbuster, and you know how it is, just like any retail around that time. You know, people are selling blah blah blah, you know, quick, and you're like shit. And I just remember this one guy. He held up a movie, and I don't even know what he was holding up, and he's just like, "What's the price of this?" And I could see there's a price in the bottom corner, and I'm like, and I could read it from the register. I'm like, what is it? You know, but I'm just like, what does it say in the bottom corner? And he's like, 9.99. I'm like, well, I guess it's 9.99 then. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, it says 9.99. He's like, can you double check? I'm like, what the fuck do you? I'm like, it's what? And I'm just like, oh my god. And yeah, unfortunately, it's sad. And I know we've shared stories. Some stories, you know, we can't get into all. And I'm so glad to be done with retail. I'm so glad to be done with
I'm
management.
jealous. I'm
It kind of
jealous.
worked out. I got to a point where I'm like, what's the point? And we've had these discussions. And you know, I'm like, especially when I was a manager, I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm miserable. I come home miserable. I felt bad for my wife. There was a time like I was seriously miserable. I mean, CVS for the most part, you know, some treated me well. I admit I had a lot of good people. The money was great, but there came a time like I just can't do this anymore. I do not have it in me. I do not want to be 60, 70 still doing this. It's not what, you know, I'm like, our
Just
kids are grown.
answering the same
Our kids are
stupid
grown. You
fucking
know,
questions.
it's like we don't have to worry about this. And now it's like, no, I need to find a different lifestyle. And luckily it worked out for me. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, emergency situation, I would, but I don't know if I could go back to retail. I
No,
don't.
dude. I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm
my
stuck
goal
in,
is to
yeah.
retire with the post office, go down, you
It's a good
know,
goal.
just retire, have enough in savings and go. But yeah, I mean, I know, and I remember, and I think you're right. I think too many people just feel they're entitled to so much free shit, so much shit, and to berate people. That's what just gets me. It's like
Oh
it's
my God,
not
dude.
their fault. Like you know, I was out somewhere and just a while ago, and I knew this employee was help. I could hear him helping a couple in the you know right around. So I'm just standing there waiting. I'm like, I'm not annoyed. I'm like, he'll get to me when he gets to me. And it took like 10
Yeah.
minutes, and don't this blah blah blah. And then they saw me and they apologized. I said, no rush. I'm like, I have nowhere to be. Like if I was in a rush, I would have just left. You know that like
Yeah.
that's all I did. I'm like, it's not his fault. He's doing his job. You know, you needed help. And yeah, it did take like 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, I'm playing on my phone. I'm like, well, you know, let's see what's going on like the shorts or whatnot. But
Yeah.
I'm like, so what? Shit happens. You know, lines happen, and yeah, no. But you're too much entitlement in this country. So, oh,
I try I, I try to
go
be a
ahead.
better customer than I can. You know, when I'm in those situations, just like what you were just talking about, it's like, you know, if I see people struggling or anything like that, you know, I feel very embarrassed if I act in a certain way. Like, you know, if I let something kind of get to me, um, and I kind of express it to somebody who's working, it's like I feel ashamed because it's like that's just to me, it's inappropriate. If somebody fucks up my order at a restaurant, and if it's like not allergy based, I don't even say anything. I just eat it. I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine. You know, today I was meant to have like a ham and cheese like omelet versus a spinach and feta. Like, not even a big deal. Like, shit happens. Like, I just don't like because it's just they get it all day long, and it's just like ignorance from the customer. I mean, you remember breaking down these Blockbuster videos when we had to close them down,
Yep.
and we would have the whole entire store littered with floor to ceiling signs that said store closing, no rentals, right? And what would happen?
Some asshole
Some
there.
fucking asshole would walk in and ask if we were still renting stuff. They would ignore everything that's going on and ask, are we still renting things? Okay? Now, imagine that person and how they approach their emotional connections with other human beings. Okay? Just like the way they approach how they perceive the world when it's covered with signs that say, we are no longer renting. And then they have the audacity to come up with their neurodivergency and ask us if we're still renting. Okay? I just, dude, it's just
I
that
got a funny
ignorance
story,
is just
which is
ridiculous.
not retail, but it's the closing Blockbusters. I remember we were closing a Blockbuster. I want to say maybe in Brockton. Like, and if you see in a closed store, yeah, everywhere, store closing, clearance, store closing, clearance, blah 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 blah. And this isn't a retail story, but it just reminded me of it. This kid comes
Hmm.
in. Maybe I say kid, but he was probably 20 something. And he comes to the counter and I'm like, hey, what can I help you with? He's like, are you guys hiring? And I know my eyes just kind of looked around at the store and I'm like, did you not just like see what's going on? Why? Like, I'm like, what? Like, we're closing. Oh, wait, you're closing down? I'm like, oh my God. Like, be aware. Just be aware. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
you know what I do when I have people in line and it's like past like the time that we're supposed to be closed? I play closing time over the speakers.
Yep.
You just hear the beginning parts. It's like closing time. It's like get the fuck out of here. It's like don't you have a respect for other people's fucking time? Like don't you respect other fucking people? Don't you? I try to. I'm not perfect. By no means am I perfect. But I try to respect what other fucking people are doing, especially other people's fucking time, which
Especially people
we
that
can
showed
never
up
get back.
1 minute before closing. And like, well, it's 11:59. It's not midnight yet. I'm like, oh my fucking
Oh,
God.
go fuck yourself.
My wife messaged me again. She's like, I got to read this word for word for you because you love it. I've never heard Soto so mad. Help, I'm scared.
It's all bottled up. That's why. See, like
This is a long time coming, or you just haven't been part of our regular conversations and our drinking conversations with Blockbuster a
this is
long
like
time ago.
fucking retail does not compute with what our natural instinct is. Because our natural instinct is when somebody treats us like this to tell them to go fuck themselves. Like your little comment that you're like, oops, I let that slip, blah, blah. No, Chad, you were being real. Your real side came out. And you're like, ooh, can't a real side can't come out because customer's always right. No, the customer's not always right. Customers are assholes. Okay? And
Yeah.
it's against our programming to have to sit there and take verbal abuse and be like, mm-hmm, have a wonderful day. Have a great day. I hope everything works out for you. I wish you nothing but the best. When you just want them to literally go up in flames in front of you.
All right. I before we end this, I kind of want to share a story. No, because it goes along with this, and it's kind of a proud father moment. And I am going to share the story because I don't even think I've really talked about this. So last August, I took my daughter. We went to Atlantic City for a week, kind of for her 21st birthday. In the hotel we were at is a Margaritaville, and it was like 2 or 3. We couldn't go there first night; they were busy. But like 2 or 3 days in, I'm like, hey, they got a happy hour. Let's go. Now we had already eaten that day, and I'm kind of setting this up. And I'm like, oh, let's just ask if we can go straight to the bar. Like, we didn't just want to go and sit at the bar because I thought we could, but we are like, we just want to make sure. So I was
Mm-hmm.
waiting at a podium to talk to like the hostess, and my daughter and her friends went to like where the line was, just because we just want to know. We don't want to eat. We just want to drink a couple margaritas and leave. One of her friends comes up to me and kind of the guy, and he's just like, um, Keely is kind of getting into an argument with someone. You might want to step in. I'm like, what's going on? So I
Oh,
see my
jeez.
daughter is kind of yelling at someone. Now, I kind of go into dad mode. I know without knowing the story. No, but without knowing the story, I know I can pull my daughter out of the situation, even if she's right. Kind of just like, all right, let me break this up,
Yeah.
find out. So I'm like, looking at her like, what are you doing? And she's like, she told me, no, no. I now figure. So here's what was going on. There was another customer online, and it was a young kid. This was his first job, and I don't even know what the problem is. But this customer was berating him, like yelling at him. He had to call the. He was shaking, and he
Oh
eventually a
no.
supervisor came in. But my daughter was arguing with the another customer. I thought my daughter was arguing with the employee because again, I didn't see this. I was. But yeah, she was sticking up for him. Like, just like, how could you treat someone like this is his job, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, she kind of joked. She's like, I went into like fight mode, I'm beast mode. I'm like, no, 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 no. But at the end, when that customer taking care of him. We went to sit and talk. She even went up to the kid afterwards and says, "Listen, it's going to be okay. Everything's fine." But it was like his first week there, and
Yeah.
it was at a bar. So I do love that she stuck up for the people who, because he didn't know what to do. It's his first job. He was overwhelmed. But yeah, so that's my story. There's entitlement everywhere. I don't know what that customer was. They were just, again, berating a young kid because something happened at Margaritaville, and it's his fault. Not just because he's there. So
I love those
uh,
kind of customers, dude. And they always, it's like those customers that will butt in from the line and be like, "Hey, shut the fuck up." I'm just like, "Oh, an ally." Oh my God, like regular good people. It's just that there's few and far between, man. Like most of the people I deal with are fine, but it's like you remember the ones that are shitty, and it sucks. And I'm glad that Keeley was able to stand up for that poor kid, because again, it's like no one deserves it. I like there was famously I was out for breakfast here, in my town, and like fucking the the waitress came to me and she got us coffee, and then like for 45 minutes she didn't come and get me. And I was going through a lot of stuff outside of work. Like this was like a few years ago. A lot of stuff, very stressed out, working a stressful job. And so, she came around like 45 minutes later and she's like, "Oh, did you guys want to put in anything to eat?" And I was like, I fucking snapped in the middle of the fucking restaurant and told her like, "I've been fucking waiting for this thing for 45 fucking minutes." And I was like, "And you just got me coffee?" And she's like, "I thought you just wanted coffee." I'm like, "No, I'm waiting for the fucking menu." And then the owner came out and he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "This is ridiculous." And I lost my shit. I'm like ashamed that I did that, So it's like but I was going through some stuff too, which is not an excuse. But, that's the kind of stuff that leads to this. It's like, you got to understand that that stuff is not the right thing to do. It's like, I know that I was completely in the wrong. And ever since then, I've like over tipped this waitress every time I see her and everything like that. I do, because I'm like, what I did
yeah,
was wrong. You know what I mean? What I did was wrong. It was a Sunday. I didn't go to church, but it was a Sunday. And I was pissed because I hated my job and I hated like where I was at. And I just, yeah, it was a minor inconvenience. I mean, sure, it's 45 minutes, but I could have handled that way better. And so now it's like, again, she still works there. And she's been working there for like ever, like basically 10 years. I always overtip just to sort of like make it up to her. It's like that because that was way inappropriate for me to do. So again, I think it's just kind of our culture and the way it's built with retail and food establishments. And, I don't see it getting any better. Sometimes I see it getting actually kind of worse. And so it is nice to at least be right in feeling this is like specifically an American experience, because that's kind of the feeling I had this whole time. So,
we're just assholes.
hmm
I mean, there's, like you said, there's assholes anywhere. We're just
I
entitled.
mean,
So
yeah, we're just
it's just,
entitled. Live for your
oh.
die, man. Live for your die. Live for your die, bro. My freedoms. Oh,
All right. Is there anything else you need to get off your chest? I mean, I know
I
we
know,
can go
right?
on for retail and retail. We probably have stories galore.
No,
But,
no,
just in the moment,
that's the
we
crux of
might
it.
revisit this another day. But
No, I mean, just given the last like 2 weeks that I've had, um, it's easy to manage. I love managing people. I love my coworkers. I love the people that work for me. But man, ignorance builds up, man. And the tolerance for the ignorance has like a limit to it, and it just fucking it drives me crazy. So yeah. Well, there's fire in the background. I felt like I had to bring the fire. You know what I
you
mean?
did. You did. You did. And just remember, I mean, we just talked about Roadhouse earlier today. And just like they said in the Patrick Swayze, just people, just be nice. I mean, if something's not happening, just, ask for it or, demand it a little bit, but just be nice about it.
Just
Just be
be
like, hey,
nice. Be
just
nice. I
hey, can I
literally
have a
been saying
menu?
that. I've been
Hey,
saying that
can
at
I
work
speak
for
to
the
me?
last 7 days. Be nice. Be
Just be
nice.
nice. Be nice.
Just be nice. Just be nice.
Oh,
There's nothing wrong with it.
there's nothing wrong with being nice. It doesn't even cost you anything. It's easy. So, but all right, let's bring you down a little bit, Soto. Let's I think
My
you
blood
had a
pressure.
lot going on there.
I did.
So,
I did. Well, I mean, hey, shit builds up. Like again, when you're pushing all this stuff down, because you're trying to not strangle a human being, like it has to go somewhere. And here it is.
yeah. Oh, okay. I'm just Deep
Yeah,
breath.
palate cleanse.
Yes, just letting it all out. Letting it all out.
Ooh, yeah,
Uh,
spicy today. I had some hot
eh,
honey hummus. I think that's what caused it.
ooh,
Oh, so
but
good.
so it's funny because I know I just talked about the fact that we just reviewed Roadhouse, the 2024 Roadhouse. So that's a future episode of Rotten Taste coming out, hopefully in a couple of weeks, whenever I can get to finish editing it. But it's kind of good to watch movies that have come out recently, and
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
Soda,
About that.
you like to make fun of me for something. So
Hmm.
let's kind of let's calm down a little bit. And what's your question to me? What do you make fun of me about watching
I think
movies?
it's I think it's amazing that for how much we talk about movies on this channel and how much like movie centric we are, you don't watch any new movies at all. Like you really do, like we just made this joke on the podcast, but Roadhouse is probably the newest movie you've seen. That's like a recent movie that came out. It's 2024. It came out in February. Have you seen a newer movie?
Um,
And why don't you watch
well,
movies? What the fuck?
so I know there's a couple movies I've seen on Netflix, and I don't remember the name of it. They
Okay,
look like
that still
cheesy, funny.
counts.
The cheesy horror ones. One was older. It piqued my interest. I didn't even realize it was older. So to answer your question, I don't know. And a lot of it we joked about when I left Blockbuster. It was just at that time like, all right, I'm not getting a lot of the free movies. I mean, I don't even know how much I was watching movies then. It seemed like not as much as when we worked for Blockbuster, but I was still watching it occasionally. But I don't know. And then I look at movies that have come out since COVID, and I kind of just if I'm looking at just the 2020s right now, there's just been nothing that interests me. Nothing, and I don't know if just the landscape has changed as far as going out to the movies or watching new movies. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. I do not have a good reason.
You have
There's nothing,
access to so many movies from
and
Netflix.
I
Like you
rather
don't even
watch the
watch
old shit
movies.
that entertained me. And I know there's probably a few that I'll still watch here and there, but it's just not as often. Like we used to watch all the shit movies at Blockbuster because we got like 10 free rentals a week, and we're
We
like,
did.
whatever, it's free. And now it's like, I don't know, but if the big budget movies, and the more the blockbusters, because I still watch some shit ones on Netflix. Excuse me, I'm sorry. The root beer is getting to me. Let me kind of bring this in, but
Is it Barks?
no, this one's mugs. We go with the caffeine free one here.
Oh, okay. Wait, Barks
Yeah,
has caffeine in it?
it does. It does.
Is that what makes it so good? That's
Maybe,
probably
or
why I
maybe
like
the
it.
yeah.
Is that the bite in Barks?
That's one that they call Barks has bites. So yeah, no, it's mugs. I'm having a mugs root
Ah,
beer right now. But back to the
ah,
movie
cool.
talk. I don't know. But honestly, I mean, what new? I mean, the newest movie you mentioned when we did a podcast like a few months ago that I'm like, maybe I'll check it out. Is that everything all at once? Whatever it was the one that won
It's
Best
like
Picture with
already,
Michelle Yeoh.
yeah, like a year
Yeah,
old. Or, yeah, already.
it's still new to me.
It's free on
I
Netflix, I'm pretty sure.
I think it must be. Dude, I don't know.
Or
I
like
don't
the
care.
Dune movies. Have you seen the Dune movies?
I have not
Like
seen any of the new Dune movies. I mean,
any of
I've
the
seen.
any? Did you watch the Oscars this year? Did you know
No,
who
I've
won
stopped
the
watching the
Oscars?
Oscars for a long. I've stopped watching the Oscars since I left Blockbuster. I mean,
But you still love movies, though, right?
I,
Like at your core.
at my core, yeah, but there's just nothing that interests me. I think just the gaming experience and the stories there have gotten me a little bit more. I don't know. I look at the time that I can spend, and I'm just like, no movie say I need to watch this. Like there's nothing that it hasn't excited me to like I need to go see this movie. Even I don't know. I don't have a good answer. It's just I just don't care. Like I'll still watch some older ones. I know we've watched a few for Rotten Taste. I know, like I rewatched Pulp Fiction, Breakfast Club, Usual Suspects. I know I watched sometime this year. So I know it's not new, but the people talk about like, the new Barbie movie and this and that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, though. It's just like nothing's driving me. Like, I want to watch this, and I don't know what it is. And maybe I'll start sounding like a boomer as they say. I'm like, just the movies just have not been the same, and I don't know. I don't have a good reason,
Is
and
it
I wish
the
I.
is it the run? I mean, you saw the Marvel movies though, right? I mean, you saw that whole
Yes, I
Marvel
saw up to
run,
Avengers Endgame,
of course.
and then I still need to see. I did see. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, Star
Yes.
Lord has always been one of my favorites, so I know that came out after. I know there's a new the Marvels one, which is new, not newer Disney Plus, which I haven't checked out.
Yeah.
I did, but I have seen some TV series. You know, we were talking about this, some of the Marvel shows that they've done. Me and
Hmm.
my wife actually just started the Chucky series. So we're gonna probably stick with that for a little bit. You know,
There's a Chucky series.
uh-huh, and it continues the lore from the movies. So yeah, we saw the first two episodes a couple days ago.
Was that necessary to do
I was
or
curious, and it so far hooked me a little bit. Where I'm like, I'm going to continue this. You know, I don't know. I know that's like 3 seasons. I think 2, 3 seasons.
oh
So
fucking hell.
I yeah. But I think it's just I think it's the random stuff because even the movies I saw on Netflix were cheesy horror movies that I can't even explain. I think there's one called The Platform, and my wife's like, "Why are you watching this?" I said, "I was curious, and I got a half an hour in, and now I just got to finish this shit, you know, because it wasn't that good." But I'm like, I started it, but I got to finish it. But I don't know. There's nothing new. There's nothing that excites me that I'm like, God, I have to watch this, and I don't know. I think again, it's been that way since I've left Blockbuster. I've watched a few here and there. I'm just not watching it every week, like 4 or 5 a week, you know, like we used to come
Yeah.
home and just be like, all right, what are we going to watch? And I think it's also part of it is, it's going to sound weird, my schedule has changed because I know we just talked about retail. When I worked retail, I would work till 10, 11 midnight, you know, and, you know, when you come home that late, you can't go to bed right away and, you know, you kind of wind down. I'm like, well, what's on TV and that? Now that, you know, I work in
Yeah.
mornings mostly, I come home, chill with my wife until the evenings, you know, go to bed at a reasonable time. Like a lot of times
Wow.
there's
What's that
8:39, dude.
like?
There's times I'm in bed at 9 just watching videos and then I pass out because I'm up so early because I work. It's like, but that's how it is. And it's just like, I got no problem. I mean, I don't know. There's
Such a normal
nothing.
life.
What the fuck's happening to me? A normal life. No retail, you know, I don't have to deal with that. You know, I got a 9 to 5 job, even though most of the time I'm done by like 1, 2. You
Oh,
know, it's just
love
like,
it, man.
I
It's like,
know.
wow.
And but I don't know. There's still things I watch, and I think maybe it's just the way society is too. You know, just with YouTube and stuff. Because I do watch a lot of YouTube. You know, and it's just like kind of I know it's not movies, but like the shows and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, let's see what the new episode of like Good Mythical Morning is or something like that, and I watch it, and it's just quick, easy, and have it in the background. I don't have to fully invest, you know, in case you know someone texts or call or I got to do something.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think maybe movies are still there, but it's still you know the love I have for like the old school movies, 80s, 90s, even 2000s. I mean, it just there's nothing that I'm like I need to see this movie. I have to see this. Yeah, the Marvel movies are a beast in itself, and even then, like I gotta see what direction they're going in because it's tough. They built up those characters so well. I don't know. The new characters is like I hope they do it good, you know, justice. And I know they have like that strike, so things are going to come out a little later. But I don't know. I think I just been watching probably a little bit more TV shows here and there, but I'll still watch the old school ones and maybe pick up you know a new movie now and then. But yeah, no, I'm not. It's not like it used to be. It's not like watching 4 or 5 movies a week. I don't even think I watch you know a movie once a week or even I don't know once a month. Yeah, and I'm talking about new. I'm not talking about rewatching old shit, but I don't
Sure.
know. Maybe we should be like, you know what? Let's find a new movie for Chad that's under 2 hours because I don't know. Some long ones, like I can't do
Yeah,
it.
Chad's under 2 hour review. I mean, are you the same way with music? Like, how do you find new music? Do you like
Oh no,
music?
no. I mean, in the car, it's whatever's on the station. A lot of times no, but it's oldies. You know, it's the generation I grew up with. You know, 80s, 90s. I don't listen. No, I think we joked. I think in one of our last podcasts, like I didn't even know who Bailey Eilish was. Like I heard of her. I heard of her, but I said I couldn't name you one of her songs. And I know she, you know, she was like kind of the newer. I no, I'm the old man. You know, today's music just you know blew me past. I don't know, I don't know. But a lot of times I
Wow.
have my preset stations. A lot of it is oldies. There is some newer ones.
So you
I
don't
mean,
have like a Spotify, for
I
example.
don't do Spotify. I just do whatever pops on. I'm like I'm meant to listen to this. Like all right, for example, I will say this. There is a new song because I there was a
I'm
lot of
meant to
debate
listen
about
to
this.
this.
No,
I
no,
love it.
because here's why. there I heard a lot of debate about this, and I am not a
Okay.
country fan. I love so much
Sure.
music. Country is the one thing I'm not a fan of. Um,
Uh-huh.
Now, obviously, there I all of a sudden I was hearing Beyonce had a country album. I'm like, what the
She did.
fuck?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, why? It did not seem to fit. But I'm like, hey, more power to her. So she had a song like a Texas whole. I don't know the name of the song, but it's the one that's on the
I'm pretty sure
radio.
it's Texas Hold'em. Yep.
Is it that what it's? So I'm like, I heard it start. I'm like, I have to hear what the hoopla because I have some family and friends who are country fans. Like, oh, it's not doing it for me. I'm like, I just need to know. And I'm listening to the song. I'm
It's
like,
not
all right,
doing
I'm
it
not a
for me.
country. I'm
Yeah.
like, but this is bad. This because I feel like Beyonce isn't a country fan. She's just like, this is how country songs work. Every now and then I'm gonna go woo and woo, and she does that. I'm like, it doesn't even make sense to me. Like, how is this even a country song? And yet she, whatever. I'm like, it. Yeah, I'm not listening to it again. But that was a new song. I'm like, I have to hear because so much debate was happening. Because country fans are like, what the fuck's like this? And Beyonce fans will whatever follow her, and that's fine. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I couldn't even call it a country song. And again, I don't know much country. I'm not a country fan, but I'm just like, if you hear that song, she just does like that woo, and she's just doing all this thing, and I'm like, she's like, oh, that's what country people do. That's what I need to do to make a country song. I'm like, no, no, you do not have the soul. You have the soul to do your music. You don't have the soul to do country music. Is kind of where I'm going to
So
leave that.
what you're telling me is that you have
She,
no thoughts or opinions currently on the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef?
I don't even know what that is. I know who
Cool.
Drake is. I think Drake because at least he was in Roadhouse. I don't even know who Lamar Kendrick. Say that again, Kendrick
Did you
Lamar.
say Drake was in Roadhouse?
Wasn't he? Oh no, Post Malone was in Roadhouse. Never mind. I was thinking Post Malone. I saw that face. Never mind. Never mind. Don't listen to me. Don't listen. See, I don't
Oh,
even know.
that's fantastic.
I at least I know who
Drake was
Post
in
Malone.
Degrassi. You remember Degrassi,
I
right?
didn't watch
That's in your
Degrassi.
wheelhouse.
No, I didn't watch Degrassi.
Oh,
I knew
Drake
of
was
it. I
in
just know.
Degrassi.
So
He was in
anyhow,
a
all
wheelchair
right,
after
you've
he
heard
got
of
shot.
what's this? What's this? Whatever. What's this beef? Not. What's going on?
I mean, look, I'm not going to get into the details,
Okay.
but like, how like, hip hop artists get into beefs, right?
Yeah.
Like they talk shit and diss each other. It's like that's currently what's going on right now. So clearly hip hop is, the number to me, it's the number one music genre of like the world. And whatever happens in hip hop, it used to be rock and roll when we were growing up. Rock and roll is very hard to find. And it is kind of there, but it's again, you have to find things on Spotify. But hip hop and Taylor Swift pretty much are like our music right now.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that to put it back around to the movie question, right? It's just that when we were younger, movies were harder to find. Not harder to find, but there was less of them. All right, if I could put it that way. So it's like, okay, the major movies were there's so many movies. I've missed so many movies. It's hard to catch up on the idea of movies. Same thing with music. Like if you like want to find good rock music, and I do from day to day, you gotta dig for it. You gotta go to algorithms. You gotta hear stuff. You gotta find stuff. You hear a song. You gotta dig for that fucking person. It's not like the national hits like like Nirvana when Nirvana came out and it was like a whole pop culture phenomenon, right? And then there was like post Nirvana grunge that's a pop culture phenomenon. Not really anything like that anymore except for hip hop. Um, so for me, sometimes when I find myself in a lull of not watching movies, it's kind of just because there's just so many, and then it's just trying to figure out what you're gonna dedicate your time to because there's a lot of old movies that I haven't seen that I would like to see. So I have to catch up on those, and then every single week a new movie's coming out that I haven't seen, and I don't know how good it is. So it's a lot. But I do try to watch movies even if it's ones I've already seen with regularity because I do think that just from my standpoint of loving film and movies and all that stuff, I do feel like it kind of has to keep me sharp a little bit. That's why I like doing Rotten Taste as much as some of the movies are terrible. Um, it at least keeps me engaged and connected, with the medium of movies and everything like that. Um, so yeah. So I mean, I
I
would
think I'll
suggest you
get
watch
better.
more movies.
I think I know I need to get better with it, and I kind of do want to see some newer ones. I'm like, but it's just, yeah. Again, I think I put more time like into other things, and like I said, I mean, again, video gaming is kind of maybe I do more gaming now than maybe I did before because I
Oh
look at how
yeah.
much time I
Oh
spend on
yeah.
Rebirth, and I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I don't know. Like I said, I still do occasionally watch a new movie. It's just a lot of times I'm just on Netflix. Like sometimes I'm just kind of just chilling and I'm on my phone and I'll say, okay, what's new? And then they get that suggested. And I'm like, and it's always like this. And I think we talked about this with like sort of movies like I know I said Cube and old ones like the psychological
Hmm.
things, simple movies. And I try and see like, all right, is this good? Um, like I said, I know there's a couple on Netflix I've watched in the last couple of months, and one I put to watch the second half on the TV. My wife's like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It's weird. This is the premise." She's like, "Why?" I said, "I don't know. That's just the premise they gave me, and I'm going with it."
And I'm going
but
with it. Yeah,
uh,
it's easier to engage like a game. Like a movie, you can watch it and you can it's you're kind of like along for the ride. But with a game, like if I'm choosing between one or the other, like if I'm going to decide what to do with my time, I feel like I'm part of the game.
yeah,
So I'm like actively doing something, or I'm like actively working my mind, and I'm not just sitting back and just kind of watching everything unfold. It's like I feel like I'm a part of what's happening, and that to me is the allure of playing games more than I watch movies. Because I definitely play games way more than I watch movies. Oftentimes I'll be like, I got some free time, I'm gonna play a video game, as opposed to watching a movie. You get a feeling of accomplishment with a video game too sometimes.
true.
You don't get that with a movie unless it's like a really really good movie. Yeah, it's tough.
So it's funny that we've been talking about games. Our last little segment here, I want to kind of bring up and ask a question. You don't know how to bring it up. It's a rumor. So
Oh
this
yeah.
is a rumor and it is a gaming rumor and it's going to tie together a couple things that kind of got brought up earlier in this podcast. But
Oh
so the last like 4 or 5 years, every year there's been a new Resident Evil. They've been doing the remakes. They had Resident Evil 8, but this is the first year that because of everything going on, the delays and stuff, there's going to be no new Resident Evil game. But there is still rumors, mind you, about will Resident Evil 5, get a remake. But the big thing is what's happening in Resident Evil 9. So, because that's the next main entry story. If you
nine.
7 and 8, it kind
After
of
Village.
well, well, here's the
Is
thing: seven,
Village eight?
eight. Well, they wrapped up the Ethan Winters story, so that's
Yes.
that. That's so there's nothing fully released on 9. As far as which characters are they going to bring in old, but there's been a strong rumor going out, and it's funny that we talked about this earlier, and I want to get your opinion on it, Soto. So, one of the big things is, what we've seen in Resident Evil games is they always try something new. They've been trying to do new things. We know like 5 and 6 had more of co-op. 7, 8, they brought first person perspective, which some people love,
Yeah.
some people hated. It happens.
Scary.
Yeah, and but it kind of puts you. They say puts you more in the character, but again, this is all rumor. But I want your opinion if it's true and what you think. They are
Okay.
going to do something new that they have not done in any Resident Evil game yet. And there's a couple play styles I, wish they would revisit, like Outbreak, that multiplayer co-op. But there's a rumor, Soto, that Resident Evil 9 is going to be open world.
What?
So there's a big rumor that they're finally going to do an open world Resident Evil. Again, this is just a rumor, but this has been going a little bit strong. Now, the definition of open world, depends. What are your opinions on having a horror game like Resident Evil, a powerhouse horror game, be open world?
I don't know. Like I feel like I played this already with that motorcycle one, and I stopped playing it after 10 hours.
Days Gone.
What was that? Yeah.
Days Gone.
I mean, Days Gone doesn't have the lore of Resident Evil, so and obviously Resident Evil is a different kind of vibe, but like an open world filled with zombies and biomutants and shit like that. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, look, I will say the stories for Resident Evil have not always been the tightest.
Yes, correct.
Okay, but I don't know. It's funny because this is a genre, Resident Evil horror games that are based off of claustrophobia. So having like a kind of an open world with this, I think would be kind of very interesting because how would it be more action if it was open world? Is it more like Fallout? Um, I'm very interested to see how exactly they would do this, and I feel like this would take forever for them to do.
Well, they now that they've had this delay, and again, well, I don't know if this is true, but someone brought up a point that you can have the open world, but when you go instead of like a town, because you're right, it is that claustrophobia. Like if you remember the Spencer Mansion, even in
Yeah.
Village, it was a little bit more not open world, but open up. But then you had containment.
Yes.
When you're in the
Yep.
castle in the area. So
Hmm.
if they mix it correctly, and the big thing is if it's going to be co-op, because if it's co-op, we're going to discuss this day one.
Oh yeah,
We'll figure
absolutely.
that out.
Yeah.
I don't know how yeah, Days Gone. I've tried to play on multiple times. I think I've tried it. We joked about it. We started it 3 times. Why did we fall? It just did not have the
Didn't
power.
grab me.
But weirdly enough, like a game like Dead Island, which is a kind of like Days Gone, very open world and very you don't have to go. It's non-linear. Um, I enjoyed it. The first playthrough. First time I played it, I had to stop because I didn't even really get it. But the second time when I kind of sat down, like, all right, let me figure it out. I beat it, and yeah, I think it can work, but it's very ambitious. But it's like what I don't know. It depends what they're trying to do because they might bring back so many OG characters for this one.
Yeah.
Because now that we've had the two with Ethan, yes, Chris was the smallest part of that, but it's like, all right, what about Jill? What about Claire? What about Leon? Because those are the fan favorites that we want to keep seeing. So yeah, this has been again. It is only a rumor, but it's been a very strong rumor that people have been putting out there a little bit, and maybe it's just very fan pushed, but it is something because they said they want to try something different, and this is kind of the one area where they haven't done so. I think they can mix it where
Yeah.
it's like you said, like a Days Gone, but when you're in towns and stuff like that. And I don't think it's going to be massively open world. I don't know, but again, whenever Resident Evil 9 comes out, I'm buying that day one. So we'll find out
Yeah.
regardless.
I mean, if it's co-op, definitely. I mean, they're not going to do 5 and 6. Those are
I,
both terrible games. Like, and even if you remade them, updated, that would not change the story. And the story's kind of just not great. So it makes sense that the next thing they'd be doing would be Resident Evil 9. Um, I'm open for it. Look, I haven't played any of the remakes. I know there some of them on PlayStation Plus, like 2 and 3, and
3 just went to PlayStation
I
Plus.
think
I played
4
2.
might be going soon
Uh,
onto PlayStation
Still
Plus. That's a rumor,
relatively
at
new,
least.
but
Yeah,
you never
but
know.
that's a rumor. I mean, I like the Resident Evil the franchise in general. I did like 8. I mean, for what it was, I wouldn't play it ever again. Because I don't like those games. But because, like I've said before, I can watch a horror movie and I'm like, this is dumb. But when I play horror games, I'm like, I don't like this because I'm connected to it. So could Resident Evil capture some of that? I mean, where the story's supposed to go. I mean, the story can only ever go open world. I mean, it has to be some sort of like escalation of the current situation, right?
Yeah, I
Whatever the
mean,
situation
it,
is.
it
Yeah.
could honestly follow Village and just kind of more be out there and explore more of that area because who knows what
Yeah.
else. Again, this is speculation, so you can go
Yeah.
anywhere. Or I don't know. But I mean, you're right. There is something scary about being claustrophobic, but there's also something scary when you're out in the middle of like a field and all you see is a horde of zombies maybe coming because they're still slow and most of them are slow. I mean, the basic zombies are slow in Resident Evil, but when you get into some of the mutants and
Yeah, but
shit,
then
but
there's like lichens and shit like that
yeah.
now and all that. Those
Well,
things
it
are
depends.
scary.
Again, they could. Who knows what they could do? They could do whatever and add whatever. So I
Sure.
don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've been hearing about this way more than I thought I would, and it's been a strong rumor now. And now that they've had extra time, it is possible. I do feel like even if it's not open world, we're going to see probably the biggest landscape we've ever seen in a Resident Evil game. To
Yeah.
explore. Because even Village, like I said, I mean, though it was contained, there was a lot there as far
Oh,
as
it's
the
huge.
castle. You had all 4 parts, um, and they can find ways to just I don't know make it more expensive. But yeah, I know how much you love the Resident Evil games, and you shit your pants about it. But
Oh
once
God.
and it's
Yeah.
funny because then we talked about me loving open world games in the beginning, and I'm like, yeah, there. I don't know, but obviously I will definitely try it. But again, and maybe it's not. Maybe kind of they stick to their roots and they go back to Raccoon City. Who knows? who knows what the fuck they'll
Uh,
do. So,
I'll keep an eye on it. That's for sure.
but but yeah, no, there is the rumor is the next one they are doing is Resident Evil 9, but they haven't announced which they might still remake Resident Evil 5 because
Oh, I don't
the
know about
success
that.
of 2, 3, and 4, people are clamoring for Code Veronica because that's the one.
That
Um,
makes sense.
that's the one that needs a remake, and
Yeah.
that's actually, from what I heard, it's one of the biggest areas, but you're not. It's more or less what you're exploring.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I don't know. They would have to do that top to bottom, and I would love a good Code Veronica remake. So, but if they did do 5, we would still have to play it. You know, we would.
Yes.
5 is our game. That and Army of Two is where it all started for us in the
Oh my
co-op
God.
experience.
We were playing 5 and like when it came out. My God, it was
We
like
played 5
2008,
when it came
2009.
2008 because I the trophies are still there for me. It's the first trophies I started getting for PlayStation 3.
Wow.
And then we played it again. Um, I don't know. When we got I streamed it. Yeah, I don't know when we did that again. We remember we did PS5, not PS5, but like Resident Evil 5 and 6.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, but it'll be interesting. But yeah. Oh, well, that's the end of our topics
Whew,
for the day. Is there
that's a
anything
lot.
last you want to bring up? I know we're going to get into Helldivers in about 20, 25 minutes here with Mel and Tengu, get into some shenanigans there. But any last thoughts
Yeah.
that you want to throw out here for the podcast before we end this?
No, no thoughts for me. No thoughts. I think I laid it all out. I think everybody pretty much knows where I stand with some of my opinions today, and yeah, I think that's good. I think
But
we had some good stuff to unpack.
yeah, you had a lot to unpack with that retail life right there. So. But
Well,
thanks to all those that
yeah.
stopped in the chat, Madness, Carlos, greatly appreciate you. And if
Yes, thank you.
anyone's listening afterwards, let us know what you thought, any topic for us in the future. But until next time, be nice, people.
Be nice. That's all I ask. Just be nice.